Her resume, I rewrote it. She didn't plan our vacations. I booked them. Every anniversary, every party, every gesture was mine. Milo just looked at me, quiet for a while, then said, "Yeah." And every time she smiled, you thought it meant she saw you. I didn't reply, because he was right. And somehow, sitting on that old couch with coffee that tasted like burnt rubber, the truth finally settled in. She didn't just lie to me. She built a stage on my back and danced on it. But I wasn't going to be her platform anymore. The bay. Show was over. Curtain closed. And this time I wasn't waiting for an encore. I liked my car. 12:32. Sold it. Turned down a promotion so I could be home more. Bought that apartment in her name because her credit was shot. I did it all thinking I was building something with her. "You were," Milo said. "She was building something on you." That hit harder than I expected. I looked around Milo's apartment, barely cluttered, comfortably warm. No Instagram aesthetic, no curated throw pillows, just life. "Feels good here," I said. Milo smiled. "Because nothing fake lives here." I nodded, sipped the coffee. Bitter, strong, real. Exactly what I needed. "You can stay as long as you want," he added. "I'll probably need a few days. Got to talk to the lawyer, sort things out." "You tell your job yet?" I shook my head. "They think I'm on a mini vacation." Milo scoffed. "Technically you are. Emotional detox retreat, peeling, wallpaper included." That made me laugh. My first real laugh since the rooftop party. The rest of the morning passed in silence. Coffee, sarcasm, and a strange kind of peace. I felt like I was recharging, like each hour away from her, from the apartment, from that night, was returning a piece of me I didn't know I'd lost. Around noon, I picked up my phone. Still off. I hesitated, then powered it on. 1:21 missed. Calls. 47 unread texts. I didn't open them. Just scrolled the previews. "We need to talk. You took it the wrong way. Please call me back." It was a joke. A joke. I almost threw the phone across the room. Instead, I placed it face down on the table. "She thinks she can fix it," I said. Milo looked over. "She thinks she still owns you." I leaned back, letting that sink in. "You're not going back," he said. Not a question, a statement. "No," I replied. "Good. Because the guy who walked away from that rooftop, he's not the same one who let her turn him into a shadow." I didn't say anything, but I believed it. That night, I sat at Milo's desk and opened my laptop. I started writing. Just for me. The party, the betrayal, the quiet rage. I wasn't a writer. Didn't matter. The words poured out. Fast, furious, raw. When I finished, I saved the file. 121 missed calls. That was the beginning. By the third morning at Milo's, I was done reacting, done waiting for the emotional fog to lift. I wasn't going back, not physically, not emotionally, and definitely not legally. I called Rowan Quaid. I'd saved his name months ago. A friend had whispered it over drinks. If things ever get ugly, Rowan's the guy. Doesn't flinch. Cuts through drama with a scalpel. His receptionist picked up on the second ring. "This is Quaid and Finch. I need to speak with Rowan." "What's the nature of the case?" I hesitated. "Paternity fraud, public humiliation, and a watch I'd like to bury." Silence. "Hold. He'll call you back in 10. He called in 6. "Ezra," he said, calm, sharp. "Tell me everything." So I did. The rooftop, the confetti, the engraved insult in the shape of a luxury timepiece, Laya's affair with Kellen Monroe, how she turned a gender reveal into a public execution of our marriage. He didn't gasp, didn't say, "You poor thing." He just said, "We start with 2 things, paternity testing, asset protection." I exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for days. "Can I afford you?" I asked. "You can't afford not to." Fair enough. Within 24 hours, Rowan arranged a private DNA test. Quiet, discreet, no lab stares. A doctor came to Milo's, swabbed my cheek, and vanished like a ghost. Results in 48 hours. After she left, I sat on Milo's couch, hands clenched, heart pounding in my throat. I already knew what it would say. But knowing and proving are different. Rowan kept working, had me list everything. Apartment lease, my name. Bank accounts, 80% mine. Credit cards, mostly mine. Every dollar from that damn party, mine. She has no leverage, Rowan said over speaker. She's just volume. She's loud, I muttered. Good. Judges hate noise. We'll be quiet. Strategic. I liked him. 2 days later, the results came in. I stared at the email for a long time before clicking. Probability of paternity, 0. 0%. Not mine, not my baby, not my future. I didn't feel shock. I felt release. Some part of me, the naive part, had still hoped. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe I'd still be the father when the curtain dropped. No, she meant it. She planned it. And now I had the science to match my gut. That afternoon, Rowan filed for divorce, no contest, documented infidelity, paternity fraud. He drafted a settlement that left her with the minimum required by law, not a cent more. She might fight it, he said, but she won't win. Good. Let her flail. Let her scream betrayal while ignoring the grenade she tossed in front of 60 people. I stayed off social. Milo didn't. He said Laya was trying to spin it. Performance art. Playful commentary on gender roles. A joke. Always a joke when the consequences show up. Meanwhile, Kellen Monroe vanished from her feed. Rumor had it he blocked her. Maybe he wasn't ready to co-parent with a trending disaster. I spent the next few nights with Rowan, drafting statements, gathering receipts, building a wall of proof, doctor visits, drone rentals, all of it. Milo watched me from the sidelines. You're different now, he said. Good different or bitter different? Both. I laughed. He wasn't wrong. I wasn't colder. Just clearer. I had a lawyer, I had proof, I had a line. And I wasn't crossing back. That watch, the one she gave me like a slap in a velvet box, I kept it. Not as a memento, as a reminder. That betrayal wears silk and smiles. That sometimes love is a stage, and you're not the star. You're the exit cue, but not anymore. I wasn't exiting. I was rebuilding. When I walked into the apartment again, it didn't feel like home. It felt like a museum exhibit. The life of a man who got played. Everything was untouched. The couch. The coffee table. The Tulum beach print she loved, never with me. And there on the table, the branded watch box. Still closed, still smug. I didn't touch it. I just grabbed a roll of trash bags. Anything with her scent, initials, or Instagram caption energy, gone. The wifey throw pillows, gone. The scented candles she never let me light, gone. The wall of gold-framed quotes? I swiped it down with one arm. Love is patient. Good vibes only. A queen doesn't need a king. Apparently not, Laya. I hit the closet next. Her dresses, heels, brand-labeled boxes, bagged, labeled, returned to cinder. And I didn't look back. Wow, that's a powerful, deeply emotional, and resonant narrative. The transformation from devastation to resilience is so clearly articulated, and the rawness is part of what gives it strength. It reads like a modern epistolary memoir, where vulnerability becomes a kind of activism. It's not just a breakup story. It's a testimony, a reckoning, and a blueprint for anyone who's been gaslit, betrayed, or left in ruins and dared to rebuild. If you're sharing this as a draft for feedback, here are a few thoughts. Strengths. Emotional honesty. The unfiltered, unpretentious tone makes it feel authentic and profoundly human. Narrative arc. It moves from grief and disorientation to clarity and empowerment without feeling forced or rushed. Imagery, vivid metaphors, a landmine, a house of mirrors, a demolition site repurposed, make the emotional landscape tactile and memorable. Symbolism. The watch, the nursery, the blog title all serve as recurring anchors that evolve with the story. Opportunities to strengthen. Structure. Right now, it reads like a single unbroken monologue. Consider breaking it into short chapters or titled sections. It could help readers emotionally pace themselves. Dialogue, tags, or pauses. The few moments of direct dialogue, Milo, Elijah, Tessa, could use light formatting or spacing to help them stand out more. Repetitive phrasing. There are a few phrases that echo. I didn't yell, didn't throw anything, wasn't leaving room for gaslighting. That might benefit from slight variation for rhythm. Potential. This could easily expand into a full-length memoir or become the narrative backbone of a non-fiction book about emotional recovery, gaslighting, or post-trauma reinvention. The integration with a startup, Rebuilt, is also brilliant. It grounds the story in action, not just emotion. At 36:18, all those eyes settled on me. I thought back to that rooftop party. Same number of people, same spotlight. But this time, I was the one telling the story. I laid it all out. 10 minutes flat, the pink confetti, the engraved watch, the 121 missed calls. But I didn't end with what was done to me. I ended with what I did with it. How I built the blog that became a rallying point. How young founders found meaning in my scars. How I wasn't just rebuilding, I was helping others do the same. The applause that followed wasn't forced. It was real. After the event, a woman approached me, tears in her eyes. She told me she read the blog after her divorce, said it gave her the courage to hold a boundary she'd always been afraid to draw. You saved me from answering a text I didn't owe. A reply to, she whispered. That stayed with me for days. I'd spent so long thinking I was a man abandoned. But I was starting to see I was a man discovered. Discovered by people who needed proof that silence isn't weakness. That walking away doesn't make you cold. That healing doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, keep going. So I did. I started saying yes. To panels, to mentorships, to workshops about post-betrayal clarity and financial safeguarding. I got invited to speak on a podcast. Then two. I wrote guest articles, edited anonymous letters people never sent. I wasn't the man walking out of a rooftop party with a fake smile and a cruel gift anymore. I was the man who walked forward and never stopped. I kept the watch. Not because I couldn't let go, but because sometimes the thing that tried to define you becomes your reminder of what you'll never be again. It sat in the back of my desk drawer for months, nestled between the DNA test that cleared me and the divorce documents Rowan filed like a mic drop. I never wore it, never dusted it. Just let it sit there, silent, heavy, useless, kind of like the marriage it came from. Every now and then, I'd open the drawer while reaching for a pen or charger. There it was, sleek, expensive, soulless. I didn't hate it, I just didn't need it anymore. I had something better now, purpose. The blog, 121 Missed Calls, wasn't just mine anymore. It had become something living. Readers from all over shared letters, confessions, their own stories of betrayal and rebirth. They tagged me in photos wearing shirts that read, Reborn, in bold white. They quoted the lines I'd written at 3 a.m. when I wasn't sure who I was without the labels of husband or father. Funny how grief clarifies once you stop chasing closure. The blog became a newsletter. The newsletter built a brand. That brand led to invites from universities, nonprofits, conferences. The biggest one landed on a Tuesday. Subject, keynote. Opportunity, Milan Rebuild Summit 2025. I stared at the email for a full minute. Milan, as in Italy. As in, I was once the guy handed a breakup disguised as a gender reveal, and now I was being flown across the world to talk about healing. Of course I said yes. By the time I boarded the plane, the app I'd helped Sasha and Rafe rebuilt, had just launched. Over 80,000 users. I'd been on 2 podcasts, 3 mental health panels, and was outlining a book I never thought I'd have the voice to write. I let Isla keep the apartment, not legally, but symbolically. I didn't need to own the place where I was erased. I moved into a smaller loft, brick walls, high windows. No furniture bought out of guilt. I started playing guitar again, badly but honestly. The night before Milan, I opened the drawer one last time. The watch was still there. I took it out, turned it over in my palm. You are not the father. Divorced. It used to hurt. Now? It made me smirk, because, yes, I wasn't the father. And thank God I wasn't the fool anymore either. I slipped the watch into a velvet pouch, not to wear, but to show. Milan. The morning of the keynote, I stood backstage adjusting my jacket while the mic was tested. Exactly 1 year since. That rooftop party. Since the pink confetti. Since she handed me that box like a magician revealing her grand finale. Now here I was, behind the curtain of a glass-walled conference center in a city that had never heard of her, but would soon know me. The summit host smiled. You ready? I nodded. Lights cued. The crowd hushed. I stepped out. Applause. Not pity, not sympathy, respect. I reached the mic and took a breath. I once paid for a gender reveal party, where I was handed a luxury watch. It was engraved with 6 words. You are not the father. Divorced. A ripple of laughter, not cruel, just stunned. I held up the watch resting in its pouch. This isn't a prop. This is real. So was the betrayal. So were the 121 missed calls when I walked away without screaming, threatening, or begging. The room went still. We're told to fight when someone breaks us, to scream, to make noise. But I learned something more powerful. Silence backed by action is louder than vengeance will ever be. I shared everything. The blog, the app, the messages, the morning runs, the woman in the coffee shop who whispered, your blog helped me walk away, the strangers whose names I'll never know, but whose pain I've lived. I never said Ila's name. I didn't need to. This wasn't about her anymore. She handed me the symbol of our ending. I turned it into the key to my beginning. When I finished, the applause didn't rise. It roared. Legacy backstage. A young man approached me. Oliver, 22, nervous. My fiancé left me last month, he said. Said I wasn't driven enough. Took my laptop and my dignity. But your story, I don't feel like trash anymore. I feel awake. I smiled, handed him the watch. His eyes widened. I can't take this. You won't keep it, I said. You'll pass it to the next person who needs it. It had become a torch, not a trophy. 2 days later, I was home. Quiet apartment. Just how I liked it. I opened my laptop, started writing. It's been 1 year since I walked away from the party that tried to break me. Since then, I've built a new name, a new mission, a new version of myself. I wasn't handed closure. I created it. 1 word at a time. To anyone still holding on to someone who treats you like a side character in your own story, walk away. You'll be surprised who you become without them. The post hit 2 million reads in 72 hours. Not because I'm special, but because I'm real. 121 missed calls was never about revenge. It was always about volume, the kind you ignore until it becomes clarity.